Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, Mana Traders, as well as Twitch subs and Patreon supporters just like yourself. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Power Dragon.
How's it going? Is this where I'm supposed to say, like, X gonna give it to you? Because we're at that part of the week.
God.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just make it stop, please. Ruben Pressler.
I mean, I don't even want to do the show anymore at that point.
I
got so mad. I got so mad when we picked up and was like, oh, I should go tweet this. I guess I'm going to go X this.
I'm going to go X it because
That
we have
helps.
X's.
I don't even know what we call it right now, honestly. I have no idea.
You ever built a brand into a literal cultural touchstone and then just tried to destroy it? Oh my God. Okay.
Wild.
If you missed our pre-show, which actually included a top 10 this week as we're doubling up, patrons and subs of the channel get access to all that stuff early, and we kick it off with our first pick in our giveaway. Get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com by typing an ! Raffle in the chat. But sub first to get 2 chances to win and support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. And that is, of course, thanks to our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every single day. And it's a great place. I work there. It's wonderful. So, the first pick here was, Wizards likes to do weird things. And there's a certain amount of viral marketing that pays off when you just do weird stuff. When you're like, what the hell? What did that mean? And because you're asking yourself, what does that mean? Or what does that look like? Or what are they talking about? It becomes its own marketing engine. It's really impressive when it does that, which is something I really love. But you take a look at, it's posted on July 20th, almost a week ago here. I'll pull it up on screen. You guys can see it. Because we're talking about the tale of a non-tournament legal counterspell. Now, y'all remember the last time we talked about non-tournament legal cards?
Yeah.
A little M, a
It
little
went
30.
over really well, right?
Oh, yeah. People were
Everyone enjoyed
super happy about it. Now, as things go, I think Wizards found that the upper limit of anybody is $250 a pack, and no one wants to pay $250 a pack. I don't care what's in it. They can try to put Lotuses in it. No one cares. Everyone's pissed off. That said, the M30 stuff is still worth money. The M30 packs are still being bought and sold every day. Collectibles are going to be collectible. However, Blake says, hey, you want to see something cool? And they show me the ugliest counterspell I've ever seen in my life.
I was literally about to say that. It's probably the ugliest Magic card that's ever officially been in the offices at Wizards.
It is like profoundly. It is like inkjet quality. If y'all even remember what an inkjet is, it looks really, really rough. It's got a white border and it's got a weird promo, an anti-theft sticker all over it and a bunch of them. But at the bottom, it does say SL Space Playtest. And we all know what SL stands for, and that's Secret Lair. And he notes that, hey, there's remember those weird playtest cards from Mystery Booster? And those aren't tournament legal, but those are still worth money, and those are still people excited to find and play with those cards and whatnot. And, this particular counterspell, much like the playtest cards that look like it, is not tournament legal, they said. Play it against your friends, keep it in a binder, or tape it to a mirror for your morning motivation. You just can't do you with this card in tournaments, and that's all for now. Carry on. And that means we, the talking heads of the Magic world, have to go, what the hell is going on here? What is happening?
And agreed. What the hell is going on? Like, why did I need this heart attack in the middle of my Cheerios?
I have a crazy idea, right? What if, because, at Wizards, there are literally tens of thousands of playtest cards over the years, right? I don't know how many R&D keeps, but I'm assuming it's a lot. What if they just decided to send those on to the shipper and just said, okay, we're going to do random Secret Lair where you get playtest cards, just mix up, you get some 5 to 10, I don't know what the number is.
Is this
if you want them,
wild.
Here they are.
This is, this is how they're going to print reserve list cards in the Secret Lair, right? Like, that's the large elephant that's over there in the corner is this counterspell plus some other random blue cards from Alpha plus a Time Twister or plus an Ancestral Recall. And it's covered in weird stickers and it says it's a playtest and it's got a weird back on it, but it's an Ancestral Recall. And how many are you going to buy if they're selling you Ancestral Recall? Same thing with dual lands and so on.
I don't know if I'm super excited about it, but I don't have a problem with them existing.
I mean,
Is Magic so old that random detritus from its creation are collector's items, right?
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
like when you go into a museum and it's just like somebody's shoe from a city 10,000 years
Okay,
ago, right?
but like, you remember those Calça Brain games playmats or whatever that were like the weird early
Yeah.
felt mats? Like
Yeah.
those things are worth hundreds of dollars.
That's true.
Like there were ugly Magic deck boxes that were made from like ceramic or whatever, and they had a little slide top, but they looked like a Magic card on top. The style of art. Saw one of those things sell on eBay for like $150. So like anything for Magic that's rare and older than like 20, 25 years old, it's just gonna be worth stuff these days.
and if they print dual lands looking, super ugly, but they're dual lands, like it's going to create its own market. They're going to be incredibly successful. The line needs to go up, everybody.
I mean,
And
I have to admit, there is something to be said for ugly cards. Like people do like white bordering their cards and whatever.
Sure,
So
yeah.
somebody's going to be into this.
I mean,
This does look like an AI was asked to make a counterspell.
It kind of does, actually.
it looks, it's one of those things that like,
There's an uncanny valley thing happening
Right.
where I looked at this and thought that it was a meme.
you work
I thought
hard
that this
enough-
was Carrie.
Right, you work hard enough, and you're like, this could, someone worked hard to make this look this bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this doesn't just be this. You can't accidentally be this bad.
right, you are intentionally 100% this bad. And if they're all intentionally that bad, but they're all cards that they can't print,
Yeah. And there's something charming about that. Like
It
Power
is.
Dragon said, right? Like the full white border action, the purposeful kind of derpy face brushwag, or word of command, like
The
that
people
kind of
that like
stuff.
playing one of every different type of
Yeah.
basic in their deck, like there's an audience for this. As ugly and hideous as it is, people are gonna dig this thing.
For
like,
sure.
look, if they make dual lands in this fashion, those would be the ones I would buy for a cube, because I don't have to pay $1,000 for a land if I can buy a $50 secret layer and get a copy of whatever,
Sure.
And maybe they start small, right? And they don't go to dual lands and they don't go to Power 9. They just go to, some little reserve list stuff. And it's ugly and it's weird, but it's, expensive stuff that they can try to sell, and they see how it goes.
I don't hate the card.
Fine.
I'm kind of artistically opposed to the card, but I'm artistically opposed to a lot of cards. There are 20,000 of them. I'm not going to love everything.
Right.
I'm just confused why they were just like, hey, here's the thing. Anyway, don't think anything about it. Just like some like one of my girlfriends in high school just being like, don't worry about it, but I'll just be walking this way now.
You know what?
It's like, why
It's
would you
just-
drop that on me?
It's the definition of a slow news day. And you're like, you know what? This would be fun to hype up some future products and to get
All right.
people talking. So let's just roll
Okay.
that out there
All
instead.
right.
Yeah, and
They
there
do
was-
got to go through a lot of hoops to post anything official. So
They do, and the other day, Mark Rosewater posted a bunch of pictures, like was it 8 pictures or something?
I think so.
From like upcoming sets and things. Apparently, there's going to be a bunch of stuff that comes out from this weekend of the Pro Tour in terms of Magic news and new stuff. And there's also, from what I understand, at Gen Con, they're going to do the here's what we're doing next year. Remember when they came back and they said we're doing X and Y and Z and the Brothers War and all this other stuff, and everybody lost their mind? Well, now we're doing this, and we're going to see what's coming and what comes in 2024 for Magic. It's going to be very exciting, and I'm digging it. Let's move on here to gather the townsfolk. Thanks, of course, to our sponsor, Mana Traders. Check them out. The best tool to enhance your Magic Online experience. Use the code MAGICMICS for 12% off your next subscription to them. Tell them we sent you. You guys have been responding to that. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it. And as we move on, y'all, we move on here to Doctor Who. There was some Doctor Who stuff that was unveiled over the weekend, which is rad. And I just can't say enough good things about all the Doctor Who stuff. Like, it's amazing, and I love it. And the alternate art versions look incredible. I'm like, have y'all seen the alternate art version of the 10th Doctor?
yeah,
It's just
hard to
dude.
frame.
That alternate TARDIS
Yeah.
is the coolest alternate art. And I'm not even a hardcore Whovian, I guess is what you call
This
him.
is
But
so
like,
sick.
the TARDIS frame is an all-time frame.
Yeah, like ridiculous. Like as soon as I saw it, I went, everybody's gonna want this card, right? Like even if you don't play it in a deck, like if you're a fan, you're just gonna want this card.
It is immediately an S tier frame for me. And I'm also not a huge Doctor Who person. I like watching clips of it on TikTok, and I have friends that like it, but like I've not gone down to. I'm going to say Anaheim, where the Who convention happens. Gallifrey 1 happens here in LA. But I have a lot of friends who are into it, and I'm like, cool. Like I like it, but I can't be in too many fandoms. That frame though, I have to say, S tier frames are Lorwyn Storybook, TARDIS, and like that might be it.
It's definitely up there. 10th Doctor is my personal favorite. My favorite episodes involve David Tennant. And the fact that they have a time travel as a mechanic, being for each suspended card you own and each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter, which is awesome. So when he time travels 3 times, you can do stuff with suspended cards. It's super rad. I just love it. I can't stand it. The Exterminate that replicates when you tap and untap Dalek to destroy a creature and its controller loses 3 life. Absolutely brilliant. Just brilliant.
I think the best touch to this product was whoever made the decision to include plane chase stuff.
Yeah.
To replicate the idea of like getting in the TARDIS, we're going to another place, and making this product even more desirable. Because now, I don't know, we're going to be able to have like 100 card like plane chase decks or whatever.
Yeah,
they're going to be huge now. But like, it's cool. You're actually giving something to so many parts of the Magic community with this one. What is it? Just 4 decks in this set. It's going to be a lot to be desired here. Well,
and speaking of a lot to be desired, and this is one of the things that you get because you listen to this podcast of this dude who works on the business side of Magic. Listen to me. If you like this product, I need you to pre-order it right now. Not because we need to make sales numbers or whatever, or I need a line to go up at wherever you are, wherever you buy Magic cards. This product is not like 40K. This product does not feel like 40K. It is not being provided at a distributor level like 40K. It is already difficult to kind of get, and we're not even started. So the cost and supply and demand, let me tell you, it's going to be crazy. So if you want your cool Doctor Who stuff, get it in early than later. You can thank me then, because these are super sweet. And I mean, my God, the fan service is amazing. And I love it to death. And it's wild to me that it's not going to sort of be that pedal to the metal 40K, which was just, order a bunch, we'll make a bunch. And they've reprinted 40K like 5 freaking times. And you can get a 40K deck right now if you want to. I'm not super confident.
And those cards, some of those cards are still worth a ton. Oh, even on their like 4th reprint.
Yeah. So like, I don't know how many reprints this is getting. You hear things about them being on a tight leash in terms of the license and things. So get you some Doctor Who if you want, because there ain't making less of it. Look, we started with Hot Pockets, all right, and the Hot Pockets got a little magic-y, all right. They got a little crazy. And I thought that was when the food train was ending. Honest to God, I was like, they did this silly thing. Wizards does silly, weird stuff with companies all the time. It comes, it goes. It was a flash in the pan. Okay, here's more food. The CheezIt Magic the Gathering bundle with the damn most clever thing I've seen all year, which is the booster snack. You don't open a booster pack, you open a booster snack. And the expert tag on the side is just.
Yeah.
Dude, for real though, when I saw these, I thought people were just playing around on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even joking. I literally saw them and went, oh, that's cute. And then later in the day, I saw something again and went, oh, these are real.
And apparently they are already sold out and there was a small number made. So yes, you are going to buy, sell, and trade boxes of CheezIts in your Magic marketing place now.
I love the revised one, the brown with the old school logo on it. That's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
But we've had others recently too. People forgot we had the trolley gummies was a thing.
Yeah,
that was one. Oh yeah, that was early summer last year, I think.
Okay.
And then even prior to all that, we had those Jones sodas that had the Planeswalker themes on them. Like I don't know what that was. That was like 15 years ago or something.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so we Wizards has definitely been in that market before, and it's obviously gone over well. So I expect we're going to keep seeing more and more over the next couple of years. And good on them. Like,
Look,
why not?
Yeah.
This booster snack and the expert label and all that, like that took love and care and time, and like the one on the right is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's great, it's fine, but it's like it's modern magic art on a
Right.
CheezIt box. The one
Which
on
is
the
also
left,
fine.
which is
Yeah.
fine, which is cool, great. But the one that that's going to pull at the old Magic players' heartstrings is the booster snack. I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, you have people who probably work at CheezIts going like, wait, we get to work with Wizards of the Coast? Like, hold on, I have an idea.
Yeah, I've been waiting
Yeah.
so long to do the booster snack. Somebody was waiting
Yep.
years to run this out there. I tell you.
As soon as they got that, all he did was just send the file over right when he got the email. Like, he probably didn't even have to have work done.
Ready for the box layout, all laid out, ready to go and fold. Just do it. You're good right here.
The
We're done.
the only downside that I can possibly see is that it is pretty cheesy. Thank
The
you,
man is a
folks. We'll be
professional
here-
comedian.
Yeah,
here all
yeah.
night.
Understand? He's
Tip
here.
the waitresses, try the veal.
We pay him for his humor. All right. So
Please don't.
from the food notes to the community notes, Light Humphreys, who has been at EPSECH or EPSECH on Twitter, not X, is leaving Wizards of the Coast, which is kind of a long-standing community member who's been around and talked about the makings and how things happen in Magic and how things become into existence. And unfortunately, one of those voices is not going to be there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is we don't really know the context other than that they're leaving the company, and they've been there for more than a decade, and sad to see, but wish them all the best in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got the vibe that it sounds like there's just another opportunity. I don't think it's so much that he's being released or anything, but I also kind of get it. You've been at a place that long. He probably made decent money. So, he's probably wanting to try something new and different. And, good on him. Like, definitely loved within the community. So, hope something good happens for him wherever he's going.
Yeah, and other game companies like plucking R&D members from Wizards of the Coast happens all the time. It
Very
really
common.
does. So that's a whole thing. So good luck to them, and obviously best wishes in the future. There is going to be a Magic art show in Tokyo, which is super duper rad. The 30th anniversary exhibition in September. This is ran by one Vorthos Mike, who is the dude for all things Magic art, generally, from what I've known from him over the years. And let's see if I can pull this up correctly here. Nope, I did not copy that right, so let me figure it again. Go bring this tweet up on the screen so y'all can see the official announcement. The call for art is live. This is one of those things where the collectors around the world will lend out the artwork, and you can see these really cool pieces, and then they go right back to their owners. And that happens all the time, and there's insurance and all this other stuff that's involved. But it should be really sweet. The 30th show in Tokyo, they're going to have, this is where they have those really cool promos and stuff we went over last week.
Yeah.
It's going to be rad.
Yeah, I mean, having been to only one of the art shows, but the one I went to was the star of the show that I went to, which was one of the Grand Prix Vegases. I'm ecstatic that they get to keep making them and bring them to a new audience. I think that they had one in Japan at one point,
It's been a long
if I
time.
recall. But yeah, I mean, since the pandemic, we haven't, I don't believe. And so I'm very excited to see the results.
Ooh, World
Yeah, I
Guide,
like
Wild
stuff like
Warrior.
this. I know some people get a bit bothered because it's like, oh, why is this only happening here instead of here? But it's always a tough thing, right? Magic, a global game with fans literally everywhere on the planet. So it's kind of cool. Sometimes you're just like, hey, this area, this market's just going to get a really sweet thing. And the rest of us have to appreciate it long distance, unless you want to buy a flight to Tokyo. But
I mean,
yeah, I think this is really cool. I hope they keep doing stuff like this around the world, even because, I will say, like, Japan gets a fair amount of stuff, or the US gets a lot, but let's make sure we keep putting some stuff in Asia, in Europe, in hell, even in like North Africa. Like, I mean, there's a lot of players everywhere. So as long as we keep doing these everywhere, I think it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, Japan is one of the largest markets that Wizards has. Like, they are one of the biggest, best, strongest, longest, etc., etc. And so rewarding that area is definitely a good thing for them. So let's move on here to an April Fool's joke from 3.5 months ago or whatever, or 2.5 months ago, where there was a sort of a throwback LGS battlefield, and the April Fool's thing had like a piece of pizza over there and soul rings as a snack, which was really
that was
cool.
so cool.
Yeah, that was
super duper rad. And it kind of shows how the LGS battlefield kind of started, and people were thinking about things they could add to it, and how this little like super short idea that's only going to take a few minutes took, you know, a while. But between that and the VHS kind of tracking lines, which was amazing, the soundtrack, which had like murmuring voices in the background, which was super cool. But the one thing it also had was the battered back Magic card. So your sleeve for the event and for all of your stuff during April Fool's was the weathered back, I think is what they describe it as. And in which I immediately said on social media, please let me give you American currency to play with this card
everybody
back.
wanted that.
And
of course.
Right, and they are giving it to us, which is awesome. They're not going to bring back the playing field, like the play space, the battleground as they call it. They're going to keep that for special events, which is totally cool. But the Magic Anniversary weathered card back sleeve, as a matter of fact, look for it in the Happy Birthday Magic Bundle for 300 gems or 3,000 gold starting on August 1st. So that's 5 days or 6 days from now. So, yeah, get yourself that sweet back in that we've been wanting all year.
Let's be fair to Wizards too, because that's actually a very reasonable amount.
It is.
You know, because like 3,000 gold, like you can get that in 2 days on Arena. Like it's not very hard to get. So like that's a really fair price for people that have something super fun as part of the whole Magic birthday, kind of like wrapping up the 30th celebration thing. So like that's really cool. It's cool of them to do.
Oh yeah, this is super high value.
I'll probably never use another card back because that's just the best.
I from this point, like from the moment I started playing and got it from the Liliana, the Final Fantasy artist Liliana.
Yeah,
that's been my main basically ever since, and so this is probably going to usurp that at least in a few decks because it's
seen some cool ones.
It's beautiful,
but this one's awesome. Like
this one takes you right back, you know, and that's the good stuff. So we're going to move on, y'all, to some desperate ravings. Some interesting stuff that came out this week. Particularly, there was an article that came out today from Cardboard by the Numbers. And I've never seen anyone really try to do this. Whether or not this is exact information, it is certainly interesting information in terms of how much is Amazon contributing to Magic sales. And so we have the benefit of some hindsight here. I lived through the 2019 change where Amazon was added as a direct distribution point for Magic to consumers. I saw the LGSs on Facebook freaking out. You know, I saw the distributors very concerned about what was going to happen. And none of that bad stuff happened. And in fact, the game exploded in popularity even more so. There was an all-new channel that made Wizards all new kinds of money, as you could see from their stock reports and whatnot from the time. It went gangbusters. And so this idea that you can kind of calculate exactly what they're selling is tough because a lot of the tools that they're using that they mentioned in the article, they track sales, but they track sales on products that often have many, many people selling it. You know what I mean? Like if you're buying a bicycle or whatever, there's a bunch of people selling different types of the same bicycle. Well, this is Magic cards, and there's really only one direct place for it. And there's some third-party sellers, of course, but in terms of what Magic is selling, how many numbers Wizards is actually going through, the idea that you estimate $2 million worth of collector box booster sales for DMU is great, but did Dominaria United sell that many through Amazon? Maybe, you know, sort of.
It's also tough too as far as the tracking because there are, like you said, you know, LGSs that are selling stuff through Amazon, right? And some of them are letting them be fulfilled by Amazon, so they get different weird listings, and there's just a bunch of different levels in there, and products at all different prices throughout a product's lifespan on there. So like, it's hard to tell. But even then, when we say, okay, let's say they did sell 2 million or whatever, at the end of the day, that's actually not that big of a percentage that I think a lot of people would think that it is. You know, because, and that's one of the things when they started pushing it, I was one of the people that was being kind of the voice of reason and saying, y'all, there's just a lot of people who shop on Amazon that don't shop anywhere else. Right? They weren't coming to your store anyway in most cases. Like, these are people in the boonies. These are people where mom or grandma's already shopping for some stuff, and they know little Johnny or little Jenny wants some Magic and picks up a couple things. Like these are people that don't even know your store exists. You know, even with Wizards giving links and whatever, people are like, it's easy for me to just get this here, and they just don't go to local stores. So as we've seen, like you're saying, right, these sales did not affect retailers. Like people are still selling out of stuff, still complain they can't get enough of some of the items. Hell,
Right.
even Amazon sold out at times and don't have things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just all around good times for Magic right now from the sales perspective.
Oh yeah.
So give me some context on, I mean, this graphic on the screen right now, I think is what I was looking for, which is what, as you know, you two are the two that have experience with game, like in the building, game store, hard numbers, right? I've done marketing, I've done, you know, hosting. I haven't done the business side. What is the bottom line here? Is it that Amazon isn't as big a deal to Magic as we once thought?
I don't know what they were going for with this. That's sort of my other thought too. It's like, here's a bunch of numbers. Like I don't
general curiosity, perhaps,
yeah,
you know, or
it's
maybe
kind of cool to know,
right? Or maybe attacking the idea that people are like, oh, Amazon is this giant, you know, part of the Magic sales or whatever. It's really not. That's because Magic's giganto. It's so stupidly huge. The secondary market is like in the hundreds of billions of dollars. It is wild. And so, again, even if these are grossly off and they're twice as high as they're expected here, that still means 80+% of all Magic sales are through local game stores. And it's more or less stayed that way for the majority of it. And again, I think the key takeaway for me, at least in terms of the business side, was that Amazon did not damage businesses in ways that they were boogeyman to damage businesses in 2019. They just didn't. I know what to tell you. Like, some people just want to buy through Amazon. Some people are happy at their store.
I can tell you. I mean, and Evan knows this. Like, I mean, literal pallets, truckloads of stuff goes into distributors and out to retail stores, to people with Magic websites, whatever. And it would be hard to imagine Amazon moving that much Magic. Right. Like, it's just not feasible. I mean, Amazon, I don't even think is built to house that much Magic, particularly among everything else that they have. Like, it would be very awkward for that to be a reality. So yeah, these numbers don't really surprise me. And I agree with you, Evan, that even if we just said these numbers are way off and we double them, hell, we could triple them. And it would still mean that all the other sales channels, whether that's LGS's, Walmart, whatever, make up way more of the sales than Amazon does.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, it's cool to imagine how much of the market is going to X, Y, or Z. It's interesting to estimate how much Lord of the Rings is sold at any one time. But, there's a giant grain of salt you have to take with a lot of this stuff, and the real numbers we'll never really know. The best the best thing you're going to find is through their stock reports to their stockholders. You're going to find better, more concrete information there, and that's some of what they base this also off of. And I'm not saying this is all lies or whatever. I'm saying these people tried as hard as they could, but I don't think the numbers are correct. And whatever the real numbers are, the LGS is still king. Like, it's still the king. Just
that's good.
Is what it is.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you're right. It's just what's the overall picture? Are people within the channels you care about still healthy? Whether that's your favorite online website, your local retail store, whatever. And right now, everybody seems to be doing fantastically well if they've been doing any amount of effort to promote and sell the recent sets.
This is true. And, Magic's been doing really well. And as gnashing of teeth as we've heard, like this one from the Blogatog, someone says, can we get a Commander Draft set that is priced like a Premier set? I just enjoy the Commander Draft format and would like to play it more, but to get it in packs when they're super expensive. And Mark notes that the problem is we would have to match the power level of a Premier set, which would be lower than anticipated for an Eternal Legal set. Sort of a long way of saying this is not really his wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
Well,
This isn't his responsibility. It's also not necessarily in his best interest to explain the hardcore business of Magic and Hasbro and all this other. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much wrapped into this. It's like we're sorry.
Yeah,
it's expensive.
People show up to Blogatog and it's like, sir, this is a Wendy's all the time, and this is just another one of those cases. But I get it. I get the want for the question. And I get the response from Mark being pretty diplomatic, but also being like, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah, like it's tough, man, because I felt this way before I went to Wizards, after working at Wizards, while I worked at Wizards. I think Wizards just over communicates as it is. I think we've just gotten people so used to, like, we can just reach out to anybody at Wizards and we can complain about a thing, we can ask about a thing, and then we expect a response. And if it doesn't tell us exactly what we want, then why are they being secretive? And it's like, we get more information from Wizards of the Coast than any other game company ever.
Think of Nintendo. Think of Pokemon.
Oh, everybody.
They're not answering you. They're not talking to you.
Yeah, I'm like, and most of the time, it's stuff that it's really none of our business. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, most companies are not going to tell you that.
Right. Like,
but yeah, I'm with you. I get the want. Totally. There's nothing wrong with the question. But I think they're also asking for something that ultimately isn't even in Wizards' interest to print. And they don't want to say that because they don't make somebody feel bad, but it's just not the right product that a lot of people would buy or use.
Right. Because right now, if you don't know, there are 3 levels of sets. There's standard level, there's mid-level, and there's top level. And the master stuff is the top level stuff. It's the most expensive stuff. It's what they juice the most. They know how much their cards are worth. No, they're not going to explain all this to you. That business is not going to explain how business works most of the time. So that's part of what we're here for. Try to help you with that stuff. And thanks to MTG Nerd Girl for the raid. Hi, everybody.
For the raid, yeah.
We're Magic folks. Mics. We do Magic news every Wednesday night. You should come out.
Nerd Girl was the channel I was going to raid. But now I had to go find another channel to raid once our show ends.
But yeah, I will say, even talking about like Commander Masters, even for as much as people are upset at like the sliver decks and whatever, retailers and stuff I'm talking to are still selling out of them. Like, it just doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, obviously we would all like for them to be cheaper, but ultimately they're going for what they go for because people are paying for it.
And this is what I was saying last week about there's being that kind of disconnect of the social media is not necessarily real life, and that the loudest, angriest, negative stuff that you hear being, plastered on your doom scroll is not really what always happens in the real world. And people like this product and they think it's a cool product and they're buying the hell out of it. And I'm telling you, they're buying them. This is going to be one of the best releases of the year. Be one of the best selling releases of the year. Like,
dude, I don't even remember the last time I saw a set with this many cards pre-ordering at not just like $10, $25 plus.
Oh yeah,
it's damn near like 80% of the rares and mythics. It feels like,
and stuff like crazy. That keeps your LGS open. Like, as much as it sucks that the seal prices are high, the seal prices don't keep your LGSs open, y'all. It's the singles. The singles keep your LGSs open. And these singles are worth good money. The packs have good value in them. This is, in my opinion, way better than Double Masters 2022 was in terms of value. All these $10, $15, $20 cards, they didn't just drop to nothing. They more or less stayed where they're at.
And even the stuff in all the Commander decks is good.
It's incredible. And the new stuff is sweet. So, again, some people, I feel like they want that. You know what I mean? They're like, you need to be so angry. I'm like, I can't be angry at something that I don't have control over. I just want to tell you how the real world is acting, which is this set's sweet.
Yeah.
Commander Masters rules.
I think that there's, we bounced around a lot on the topic of conversation there, but I will put my pin on the conversation of, it seems like people wanted out of Commander Masters, they wanted A, to pay less and get the same thing, but B, I think that there was also a disconnect between wanting to, I'll call it hitting for average versus hitting for power. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think that this set, like you said, everything's pre-ordering for 2025. There's not as many $100 cards as previous Masters sets.
Right. I'm okay with that.
Which I'm okay with too, but I think that's just a paradigm shift in what people would expect.
Right.
There's a weird thing too, quickly, where like players want cards to be cheaper, but they also want their cards to be able to have value and sell for more.
Sure.
And you can't really get both of those, right? So if Wizards has to make a choice, they're going to lean toward things being more collectible and valuable.
Right.
It just makes the most long-term sense.
You cannot have the cake and eat the cake.
That's right.
So they're going to give you the
cake. Wow,
what
a good saying. Did you come up with that?
I'm on my own. Earlier today, just thought of it.
Wow.
But yeah, so cool set's cool. It sucks. We've talked about it. High five. Let's move on here and turn
before we turn the corner to the finisher, because we didn't put it in the topics, but we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show. Sure. I want to touch on Lorcana again.
Sure.
because we haven't talked about Lorcana on the show in a little bit,
Sure.
and now the first chapter's full thing is out.
Full spoilage, yep.
And again, you're in the building in a business that deals in cool stuff, where you can get cool stuff in stock every day.
That's right.
But some people aren't going to be able to have this cool stuff in stock because of supply issues and demand. And then we also talked about how this is like a not a traditional brand. You know, they're not used to the demand that, you know, they're expecting collectors to want one of every card, not for collectors to want 1,000 count boxes full of every card. So I want to talk a little bit about Lorcana and what it means going forward based on what you've seen so far.
Okay. Well, a couple things happened. A, the full set got spoiled out, and B, the allocations went out to stores all over, I'm guessing the world, but definitely the U.S. Yeah. And one of the things that, you know, like when these things happen, when you have a product that's like super, super crazy hot, like it doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, the last time I saw something that was kind of hyped this hard was Keyforge. But this is way higher than Keyforge was. But we also, you know, Keyforge also sold an absolute crap ton. Was the gigantic monster hit of like 2017, I think it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just huge for like a year or so. This is way bigger than that. And so there's conversations that you basically have to say, look, there's a certain amount of product that you can get, yes. But you also want to note that when you're in this brand new game mode, just selling it for max, you know, scalpy, selly prices is not going to make this thing last long term. You're not going to have a business model that makes something and builds on something and has something that's going to be long lasting. What you want to do is just what Magic did. You build a community. And to build that community, you need to focus on providing the product that you get to that community. So largely, maybe with some exceptions, but certainly at the very beginning, there will be very little product to buy online on cool stuff for Lorcana. There will be product to buy in store because we want you to go to the stores and want you to attend the events and want you to do the organized play stuff. And that's cool. And that's the primary way that most people are probably going to be getting the product. You know, and there's some places that get a few boxes and they sell them super high and they're keeping the lights on. And I'm not mad at those people. But in terms of like, if you want to really make something out of the product that they do give you, you'll want to make that and take it to organized play and get people in there every week and build a community of people who are happy to play the game and are excited about it. And that leads to the second set and the third set and so on.
Yeah, really, the retailers I've spoken to really only have two kind of mitigation plans for this, right? The first and the most popular is taking 2 to 3 boosters and just couple them with every starter and just making sure everybody gets some reasonable amount of product in their hands that they can kind of goof around with, change the decks up, whatever.
Right.
Many of them selling no large quantities, so no booster boxes, no special bundle deals, nothing like that. The other is the ones that got even less product are saying, okay, well, we want people to come in, so the only thing we can do is hold it for special events. So they're going to do some type of sealed stuff, some demo days, and that's what the product's for. And they know they're going to get hated for it because people are going to be calling and they're saying, hey, sorry, we don't have any, but you can come to this event or you can come do this thing. But that's all you can really do when there's no product available. I mean, people talking literally, some people got none and allocated up to 10%. I've not heard anybody get more than that of anything they requested. And these aren't like crazy numbers. Like they said, I want 100 cases. Right. You know, a bunch of them are like, I would like 12 cases. You know, I'd like 20 cases, which are very reasonable numbers for most games. And Lorcana is not able to meet that currently. And they already put out a statement saying it's going to be in all their mass market partners as well. So everybody else that carries Disney stuff, at some point, you know, within the first month after the set coming out, is supposed to have Lorcana on the shelves as well. And I don't know how that's going to work.
And that was my second point coming up, which was the other thing they unveiled was that where things are going to be sold and when. And in the middle of August, when it's released in local game stores, it's also going to be released in the parks. What does that mean? How much product is going to be at every park every day? I don't know. Is just going to sell out, you know, at the first minute of sales every morning? Who knows? But that's what they said that's going to be available there. And then all these like weird places, you're like, Best Buy? Like what? FYE or whatever? Like, huh? But you realize that those same list of stores are all the places that Pokemon cards are sold. So everywhere Pokemon was, Ravensburger wanted to be. And I don't blame that strategy at all. It's just a question of, Can they print to demand? I don't know. Everyone screamed at them, begged them to print as much as they possibly could between the announcement of that game and what we're about to see in a couple weeks here, because the hype is there, the excitement is there, people are pumped. I've played some of the game. It's very cool, very interesting. Your kids can like it. It's very simple in that regard. It's not like super crazy high-level chess happening, but it is fun, it is neat, and you're able to play with cool characters.
Also, simple request. If you happen to be going to a park around that time, I would definitely pay you a king's ransom to just be my pack mule, and I will pay for shipping for that giant pile of stuff I would give you money to buy at the park.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you happen to be out there, shoot me a DM.
I've got a lot of friends who work at Disney. I should hit them up and be like, hey.
I would gladly pay them for their services.
All right. We'll talk after this.
Yeah,
this is not a bad idea.
No, and the other question is, what is Disney going to be selling them at? There is an MSRP on this product. Are they trying to sell those products at MSRP at the parks? Because they're worth more than MSRP. And again,
that would be my assumption. I wouldn't imagine it'd be more than like 50% over. But it's
right?
Whatever it is, it's probably going to be better than it's going to cost you on the secondary market.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And to wrap this back around, does this have any effect other than it being a trading card game on Magic the Gathering?
No.
I mean,
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it, much like, when Hearthstone came out, some amount of Magic players went wherever. When Snap came out, some amount of content creators and Magic players went wherever. But there's so much, attrition that happens with Magic players and so much churn that happens with new players and older players leaving the game. I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I would say that anything that the local game store can use, particularly to get in families and to get in like children and women to play card games, because this is very high amongst children and females, and that's fantastic, and I love that.
Sure.
Because it's often super intimidating to try to play a card game as either of those groups.
This gets people in the door at the very least, or at least gets people to look up websites or phone numbers of their local LGSs to even know they exist.
Right.
And that is a pretty big step, right? Even if they don't have the product, at least people know you're there now.
Right. And kind of dripping that stuff out to a community and making people kind of go to events and participate in the community, that gets people excited to stay in it and have that excitement about it. Like if you go to a game store and they don't know what the game is and they've never played it and they don't know, what's going on with it, you're not going to get excited about it either. You know what I mean? Like when someone's like, what's Lorcana? They're like, I don't know, something we can't even hardly keep in stock, blah, 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 But no, someone who's played it and they know the deck types, they're like, oh, Mickey Mouse is really cool, or I did this thing with Scar or whatever. That stuff helps build things, and that's what mode they should be in right now. Not just make as much money as you can. Oh my God, it's
right.
Fun. All right, we will turn the corner to the finisher. It's official. Twitter has officially rebranded as X. You can still send tweets. You can still use TweetDeck. You can still go to the URL twitter.com. But Elon has deemed that it's now named X. It's the worst rebrand of 2023, which is saying something considering HBO Max, aka Max, exists. So tell me, if you were to completely and incomprehensibly rebrand Magic, how would you do it, Ruben?
Well, I'm the internet's Ruben Bressler, a name that I've had since 2010 when my In Contention co-host, Matt Kranstuber, came up with that brilliant pun that I still use to this day. But I have done a lot of D&D content creation recently, so I could reasonably drop Mox Ruby and become Rubarbarian.
Wow.
Rubarbarian. Not bad.
Yeah, and this is to completely and incomprehensibly rebrand yourself, not Magic. My apologies. Right. Power Dragon, what you got?
Well, being power and dragons is very good. So, not want to mess with that too much. But if we were going to do it, well, there is something that Magic players like a lot more. And I might just tell you to go send me a message at my new Twitter handle, 30th anniversary.
At 30th anniversary, you'll see... Yeah, that's not at M30.
You'll have to go private. You'll have to go private.
Exactly.
It would be rough. Now, Mr. Orange was a brand I picked when the rocks were soft, named for a favorite Tarantino character of mine. But my interests have changed in the last 15 years, so I'm excited to announce my new name at Lorcana Fan 249 72X 442J.
Presumably 248 Lorcana fans got to those names before you.
Were in front of me, yep. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Power Dragon.
Hey, love to be here. And yeah, X is not going to give it to you, as it turns out.
It is not.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah, for the winner, you can DM X. I think that there's not going to be a better joke than that in the foreseeable future.
Oh, we have DMXs.
We have DMX.
How did I not see that?
We have DMX, yeah. That's the best.
Almighty.
That's way better than
hurts.
X videos.
That's pretty awesome, honestly.
This hurts.
How did we miss that this whole time?
It's bad, but
Jesus. Well,
you know, every cloud has a silver lining.
With an X. All right, so to mark where the spot is. We move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, Mana Traders, my co-host, Power Dragon, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online and Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. But join us here to discuss all things next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.